The soft glow of morning light spilled across the vast estate, illuminating rolling hills that stretched as far as the eye could see. Birds stirred in the trees, their melodies weaving through the crisp air. But inside the grand stable, something far more extraordinary was unfolding. A horse unlike any other stood tall in the center of the polished wooden enclosure, his coat glistening as if woven from liquid gold. He was powerful, intelligent, and unlike any of the prized stallions that had ever graced the billionaire's estate. What set him apart wasn't just his beauty or his speed, but a secret so unfathomable it could turn the world upside down. The billionaire had spent his life chasing success, his fortune built on ruthless ambition and calculated risks. Every decision, every investment, every strategic move had brought him closer to a life most could only dream of. But for all the wealth and power he had amassed, there remained a hunger and emptiness that neither money nor luxury could fill. He had seen miracles in the form of market shifts and business deals, but nothing could have prepared him for what he was about to discover. It started as a whisper, a strange rumor that floated through the estate like a ghostly echo. The stable hands exchanged hushed words, their eyes wide with both fear and wonder. They spoke of dreams so vivid, so impossibly real, that they spilled into waking life as if the boundaries between imagination and reality had been erased. The source of this phenomenon? The horse. But it was only a story, an absurd, impossible notion that no rational man would entertain. Or so the billionaire thought. Then, one evening, curiosity got the better of him. Standing before the stallion, he let his fingers brush against the horse's mane, a soft shimmer dancing along the strands, as if they held the very essence of possibility. That night, for the first time in years, he dreamed not the usual fractured images of wealth and business, but something breathtakingly different. He saw himself holding an object he had long coveted, one that had slipped through his grasp years ago. When he awoke, his heart pounded against his ribs. The dream was still fresh, the sensation of holding the object so real that it sent a chill down his spine. Shaking off the feeling, he pushed the dream aside as nothing more than a trick of the mind. But later that day, an unexpected package arrived. The exact item from his dream, something he had spent years searching for, lay before him. The precision of the event was undeniable. A coincidence? Perhaps. But the unease in his gut told him otherwise. With each passing night, the dreams grew bolder. Wealth beyond calculation, opportunities beyond reason, and encounters he could never orchestrate on his own. Each morning, he awoke to find his visions materializing before his eyes. It wasn't luck. It wasn't strategy. It was the horse. Yet, with great power comes an even greater temptation. What begins as innocent curiosity soon turns into an insatiable hunger. If dreams could shape reality, what limits remained? The possibilities were intoxicating, but beneath the surface of this newfound fortune lurked an unsettling question: how much was too much? And then, one night, the dreams took a darker turn. The once peaceful estate had transformed into something far darker in the days following the billionaire's discovery. The dreams, once thrilling and empowering, began to carry an ominous weight. With each passing night, the horse seemed to be more than just a conduit for visions. It was becoming the source of something much more profound, a force that the billionaire couldn't begin to comprehend. What had started as a gift was now a dangerous power that felt almost uncontrollable. One fateful evening, after a particularly vivid dream, the billionaire awoke with an undeniable sense of dread. This time, the dream had been different. It wasn't the usual vision of riches or opportunities, it was a glimpse into a future so bleak, so terrifying, that it made his stomach churn. In the dream, he saw himself standing before the horse, its eyes glowing with an unearthly light, as if it was the harbinger of a disaster that could not be undone. He had tried to resist, tried to turn away, but something had compelled him to listen. The whispers in the dream were clear now, You must choose or lose it all. As the first rays of dawn broke, the billionaire couldn't shake the feeling of impending doom. He went to the stable, his heart pounding in his chest, desperate to find answers. The horse stood calmly, as if it had done nothing but wait for him, its sleek coat shimmering as it always did. But something had changed in the way it regarded him. The horse's eyes, usually so serene, now bore an intense knowing, as though it understood the very depths of his desires and the cost of indulging them. He had been warned, but he was too far gone. The fortune it had already granted him was only the beginning. What more could it give him if he took the next step? A part of him resisted, the part that understood the danger, but the temptation to harness this power to shape reality to his will was overwhelming. Every instinct screamed at him to walk away, but his ambition drowned out the voice of reason. Just as he made up his mind to unlock the next level of this strange gift, the estate was thrown into chaos. A series of inexplicable events unfolded, each one more unexplainable than the last. A business deal he had been certain would fail suddenly turned into a multi-million-dollar windfall. But at a cost, the company he had outbid for the contract crumbled overnight, its CEO mysteriously disappearing without a trace. Then, his rival, once a looming figure of competition, was found in a car accident that couldn't be explained. The billionaire knew, without a doubt, that these events were tied to his horse, to the dark power he had unleashed. A sense of unease settled over him like a storm cloud. The wealth and success had come at a price, and as the world around him crumbled, he couldn't help but wonder, had the dreams been warning him all along? Had the horse merely shown him glimpses of a future he was meant to avoid, rather than one he was supposed to embrace? But it was too late to turn back. The deeper he went, the more the visions twisted. There were no more simple glimpses of fortune. Now, they were laced with hints of suffering and loss. At night, he saw the horse in his dreams, but this time, it wasn't the majestic creature he had once admired. It was monstrous, its eyes burning with fury, and the once beautiful stable was now a shadow of its self-decay, creeping in at every corner. In one of these nightmarish visions, the horse spoke, or rather, whispered a sound that echoed in his mind like a million voices. The price is yours to pay. When the billionaire awoke in a cold sweat, the entire estate seemed different. The air felt heavy, the once vibrant grounds now eerily still. He rushed to the stables, only to find the horse gone. Panic set in. Was it gone forever? Had he pushed things too far? His heart raced as he searched the estate, calling out to the creature. But there was no answer, only the unsettling silence of the empty land. Just when he thought it was over, when he feared the worst, the horse appeared standing at the edge of the estate, bathed in an otherworldly glow. It wasn't the same horse he had known. This one seemed to carry the weight of the universe itself in its eyes. And as the billionaire approached, he saw something that sent a chill down his spine, a vision, playing out in real time before his eyes. The horse was showing him a future, a reality. But it was not one he had ever dreamed of. It was a twisted version of everything he had ever wanted, but with dark, irreversible consequences. He saw himself, a hollow shell of the man he once was, surrounded by riches that meant nothing. His success had consumed him, leaving him broken and alone. And there, standing in the shadows of his own creation, was the horse, the only thing that could reveal the truth of the path he had chosen. Would the billionaire heed its warning, or would he continue to chase his own twisted vision of perfection? The question hung in the air, unanswered. The future he had longed for now seemed out of reach, slipping away like sand between his fingers. The real battle had only just begun. The billionaire stood frozen at the edge of the estate, his heart pounding in his chest as the horse's glowing eyes locked with his. It was the moment he had feared, a confrontation between his insatiable ambition and the truth that had been slowly unraveling before him. The horse was no longer just an extraordinary creature. It was a manifestation of his deepest desires and, perhaps, his darkest fears. The vision it had shown him was clear now, more vivid than any dream he had ever had. The riches, the power, the success, they had all come at the cost of his soul. He took a step forward, his legs shaky, unsure whether he was ready to face what lay ahead. But as if sensing his hesitation, the horse moved, guiding him toward the one thing he had avoided for so long: acceptance. The realization hit him like a thunderclap. The dreams, the wealth, the bizarre coincidences, they were never just gifts. They were lessons. He had been chasing something that was never meant for him, trying to control forces beyond his understanding. The horse, he realized, wasn't just a means to an end. It was the keeper of balance, the force that ensured reality and dreams didn't collide in catastrophic ways. A choice now lay before him. He could keep pursuing his endless desires, risking everything, or he could let go of the power he had so recklessly embraced. But there was no time for indecision. The estate, once a symbol of his achievements, was beginning to fall apart before his eyes. The cracks in his empire were spreading, his company faltering, his relationships crumbling. His success had become a prison, trapping him in a world of isolation, where nothing, no amount of money, no business deal could satisfy the emptiness within. The billionaire turned back to the horse, now understanding that this wasn't a simple decision about wealth or control. It was about his very humanity. He had let ambition cloud his judgment, consumed by the idea that more was always better, that power could solve everything. But the horse had shown him the truth. True fulfillment didn't come from what he had built, but from what he was willing to leave behind. In a final act of surrender, the billionaire stepped closer to the horse, allowing it to lead him into the unknown. The moment their connection deepened, he felt a shift, a release of all the tension and fear that had bound him. The world around him seemed to blur, and the once stunning estate faded into the background, replaced by a vast, empty field under a sky filled with stars. It was a peaceful emptiness, a kind of serenity he hadn't known in years. For the first time in his life, he felt free. Free from the chains of his ambition, free from the need to control every aspect of his existence. The horse standing beside him no longer seemed like an enigmatic force, but a companion and ally that had helped him rediscover a part of himself he had long buried. But just as he thought he had finally found peace, a strange sensation washed over him. It was a shift so subtle, he almost missed it, a ripple in the very fabric of reality. The billionaire's breath caught in his throat as the truth hit him. This was not the end of the journey, but the beginning of something even more profound. The horse had not only shown him the path, but it had also revealed the true nature of the power it held. The ability to turn dreams into reality was not simply about gaining wealth or power, it was about understanding the consequences of one's desires. It was about learning when to let go and when to embrace what truly mattered. As he stood there, a sense of clarity washed over him. The dreams, the fortune, the broken pieces of his past, they had all led him here, to this exact moment of realization. And in this moment, he knew that while he had changed, so too had the world around him. The power was never about controlling destiny. It was about aligning with it. And now, standing alongside the horse, he understood that true strength came not from taking what he wanted, but from giving up what he no longer needed. With a final knowing look, the horse turned, its eyes shimmering with a quiet wisdom, and began to walk into the horizon. The billionaire, now aware of the fragile nature of his dreams, watched it go, knowing that while this chapter had closed, the journey was far from over. As the light of the horse faded into the distance, the billionaire felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. He had been given a rare gift, the chance to redefine his life, to reshape his future, and to understand that sometimes the greatest fortune is found in the moments we least expect, when we finally let go. And in the silence that followed, the world, once again, seemed limitless.